Hello there, Alaskans, wherever you are. Welcome to the Must Read Alaska Show, coming to you from somewhere in Alaska. This is the place where we talk about, you guessed it, Alaska, where we keep the mainstream media on their toes and where we are standing up for what's right in a world run by leftists. You can find out more by heading over to mustreadalaska.com and also checking out the Must Read Alaska YouTube channel for some really great content. But first, let's get this party started. All right, I think we're live. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited to announce the mayor-elect, Mr. Dave Bronson. Dave, you're looking great, man. There's been a lot going on. It's been a long campaign, but you look good, man. How are you doing?
I am doing well. A lot of office time, that's for sure. But a lot of Alaskans work harder than I do, I guess. So not a problem.
Hey, listen. I know we've talked a lot. First of all, I always have to say thank you. You've been very gracious to Must Read Alaska, and we really appreciate that. But campaign is over. I don't think as of right now on a Tuesday at 3:00 that they've certified the election, but everybody's pretty much saying Mayor-elect Mr. Dave Bronson here. Wow, it's been a wild journey.
Yeah, for 11 months.
Yes, it has been, and you've gone through a ton. But now that the campaign's over, I want to shift towards now the municipality. That is probably what your focus is on. And so one of the first questions I have for you, Dave, is kind of like, what's going on with the transition team? What can we expect, and how does that process work, just for people that don't know?
Well, we've got two very experienced gentlemen that run that, Craig Campbell, former lieutenant governor, 3-star general, and then Larry Baker, former legislator, assemblyman, jack of all trades. Collectively, I think between the two of them, they probably got 425 years of experience in politics in Alaska. Very wise men who I lean on heavily for all things. And then we've got a lot of other team members that are piling on to form out our committees that are dealing with anywhere from economic development to public safety. 5 major groups that are doing those things, and they're looking for policies and people for going forward into a permanent administration. And because once we get the people in place, we can formulate the policies, and then from there we'll act on those policies and plans.
Awesome. That's great. Do you know, has there been any funds kind of left aside for this transition, or are you kind of just, you're just going along right now? How does that process work?
Well, for the transition, we're raising our own funds, which we are kind of, excuse me, back into campaign fundraising mode, because according to the budget, there was nothing left for us to transition with. I think there was $27,000 left to the 6 years ago the Berkowitz team to transition, but there's nothing there. So we'll raise our own funds and pay for our own transition, which is expensive, but it is what it is.
It's also the Bronson way. You guys have done that since the beginning of your campaign, so I guess why
our
not continue?
Volunteers will get us through this too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dave, can I just ask, like, how are you feeling? It's done. You're in. Is it like, obviously it can't just be a sigh of relief. I'm sure there's plenty more to do, but is now that the campaign's over, are you feeling like this new set of energy? Is it rally time? What are you feeling like?
Well, it's just a new phase transition. We've been actually formally at it for a long time, more than a month, building the team leadership, the transition leadership team, and bringing on board experts in all these different fields. We had to presume you don't get into a race assuming you're going to lose. We got into the race assuming we're going to win. That being said, we had to be prepared on after May 11th to hit the ground running. Transition is not like campaigning. A lot more office time, less time out meeting people, but transition is every bit the work that a campaign is for me. It's far, far less for the volunteers. In fact, a lot of the volunteer efforts simply have shut down. And which is kind of sad because I don't get to see all the people that we got to see virtually every day in the office, getting dispatched to go walk and our GOTV efforts. I've still got some of my core volunteers leadership that's working with me day in, day out on transition. Transition's is a big process, very complex. In a city of 290,000 people, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of departments, a lot of things that need to be addressed. And these experts, they're doing it for me, setting it up. It's too much for one person to handle all by him or herself. And but there's no surprises here. It is what we expected it to be, and then we suspect, I do, that governing after July 1st will be about what we expected. It's very busy work. It's sometimes frustrating work. You just can't do things that you want to do just automatically, because we have to deal with, the assembly, which is, 11 people who have differing ideas. Somebody says it's a committee of 11 mayor wannabes, and I appreciate that. That's not a problem. But at the end of the day, we all got to come together to do what's best for the rest of the city. We need to fix the potholes. We need to plow the streets. We need to deal with, getting our economy back running after the shutdowns. And I think, the assembly, by and large, we all want the same thing. We want prosperity and we want safe streets, and it's how we get there is where we differ, I think, sometimes. But as long as we want what's best for the city, I think we'll come to solutions. We'll get to yes.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that leads to just another question that I think we're all thinking about is the first 90 days, Dave. I know we've talked about it a little bit. I know we've probably talked about it ad nauseum offline, but what do those first 3 to 6 months look like for you in your administration?
Well, nothing's changed on this from the campaign. I was asked that, what do your first 100 days look like? Well, we've got to deal with, the vagrancy issue, the visible homeless issue. We got to keep tackling the overall homeless issue. Those people who are homeless or are about to be homeless that we don't see all the time, and they're not living problematically on our streets. We have to take a real strong look at how we build in this city and how difficult it is. We've got to get government out of the way. There's no latitude here on this one. We have got to build safe homes, but we have to do far less expensively. It takes too long, and our builders are just stymied. In fact, to the point they're voting with their feet. They're going to the valley to do work. And even as a large chunk of our population is migrating to the valley simply to get away from the onerous restrictions in the muni. And we want to reverse that trend. We would love to get to the point we start attracting people back to living in Anchorage. And I think that's best for everyone. I'm going to work very hard for that.
And I'm sure you've heard while you're on the campaign trail, that idea of people getting back to work, as you said, or the ability for home buyers, home builders, people wanting to do renovations, to have the ability to do so without feeling like they're got to jump through 9,000 hoops to get a bathroom redone.
Yeah. The permitting process is sometimes more expensive, frankly, than the material list or even the labor list on a project. That's nonsensical. We're looking at how they do things in other cities like Charlotte and in other cities, Kansas City, and there's a whole lot of models out there that do it far better than us. In fact, I'm just going to be quite blunt. Few cities do it worse than us, and that may shock some people. But Title 21 has become, in its present form, very restrictive on our business. I'm not talking obviously Title 23, but Title 21, how we use our land. And if I gave some of the examples, everyone would say, well, that's nonsensical. And you don't learn about it till you try to build something.
Right.
We don't have to all go through this before we make changes. we see what's going on now, we're going to make changes, and they will at times be startling changes.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's awesome, because I know for me, it has been a pain at times. And I know for other people, friends of mine as well, that's such a struggle, that whole permitting process and land use. But well, listen, I know, like I said, I haven't heard anything yet of official certification, but I think everybody knows it's inevitable. Are you guys planning on doing an event, an inauguration event, something the community can do and partake with you? Because like you said, over half the people that voted for you, Dave. And even the people that didn't, maybe the people that did vote for Forrest want to hear from you and want to, maybe they liked your message, but they just felt like they got to stick with the party line, if you will. But they really loved your message of let's get back and vote. Is there something that you're going to be doing for an inauguration?
Yeah, we're going to have on July 1st, there's a series of obligations that you have to do as an incoming mayor. But then there's a series of things that we're going to do. It's going to be quite the festive day. Again, we're raising money for that through various means. Some of it has to be APOC restricted through our campaign going up to June 25th. And then after, there's other groups that are raising money to have festivities. And it's going to be on Park Strip on July 1st, which I believe is a Thursday, as we get ready for the 4th of July on Sunday. And it's going to be kind of a kickoff of the 4th of July weekend. And we just anticipate it's going to be fun, and we'll release those details. We're building them now, and we're 5 weeks away, and it's just going to be fun. That's the theme of it. It's a chance to say thank you to the voters, whether they voted for me or not. We all had to put up with the last 14 or 16 months, and we're back in business. That's the message we're going to try and convey, is that we're back in business as a city, and we're here to enjoy life a little bit and have some fun.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with fun.
No.
Let's get back to work. Let's have some fun and be good neighbors again.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So listen, when you were in Eagle River and I was there covering that event that you guys had right before the final days, the deadline for voting in that runoff, you had the support of, Mike Dunleavy was there. I know Senator Sullivan showed up. I know Representative Young wanted to be there, but was kind of caught in between two events. Have you heard from, Governor Dunleavy, Don Young, Senator Sullivan, or Senator Markowski? Have you heard from any of them since you're?
I hear. I've heard several times from Don Young. He congratulated me several times over the phone. He was in DC, and I had lunch with him here 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's very supportive. Always, he always has been. Governor Dunleavy is, we text pretty regular, and he gives support and guidance, which I really appreciate, as does Senator Sullivan. He texted this morning. We kind of missed on phone calls yesterday. He was out running on the mall, and I was in a meeting and had the phone on silence. We finally connected a couple times this morning on text, and he's here to help. He likes the direction that we're going to go in, and he's very supportive. And I'm very much looking forward to working with him and all three of them going forward. In fact, the entire delegation, Senator Bukowski as well.
That's awesome. Now I know that Governor Dunleavy was really pulling for you, and in his speech at Eagle River, he stressed the importance of being able to have a good relationship, not only with the mayor here in Anchorage and the municipality, but also the fact that they can work together closely and not feel like there's any kind of friction and or one-upping, if you will. And I think part of that, I'm going to say my words, not your words, just to be very clear. The Berkowitz administration and maybe at some extent this current acting administration, there always seemed to be this contentious one-upping, or it didn't always feel like people were playing on the same page. And I think this is a big deal. Do you get the sense from Governor Dunleavy that he's really excited to be partnering with you, obviously with Alaska's biggest city?
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not looking back to what their what Mayor Berkowitz's and Governor Dunleavy's relationship was. All I know is, if it was a Democrat governor, I'd be just tickled pink to work with him or her as well. And I know I consider Mike Dunleavy a friend. And I do look forward to working with him because he's the governor of my state. And and remember, about 40% of the city or state of Alaska lives in Anchorage. So he's got a huge constituency here. And he wants to serve his citizens, as well do I. I know the campaign is over. I'm done with the campaign. I don't particularly like campaigning. I love the people. That was the gift that I got out of it. But the campaigning and the vitriol, I don't like that. That's not my nature. I'm a problem solver, and I don't like the public part of it. I don't like the celebrity that comes with it. I just like to be, I'm the guy that wants to be in the back room solving problems. Fortunately or unfortunately, in our form of government, you have to run for office to solve the problems. So here I am.
Yeah. Well, Dave, I think that was probably one of the endearing qualities that you had on the campaign trail that I heard from many of the people I talked to who either were interested in voting for you or who did vote for you, was that you weren't looking for celebrity or that. You just seemed like a guy that saw a problem, wanted to solve it. And it's, for lack of a better term, I guess, for the people, by the people, trying to help the people, if you will. Well, I have one more question. I know you're busy. So this last one's actually one that I'm sure we're going to spend a little bit of time on, but everybody wants to know, now that you're the certification is just right around the corner, how are you going to be able to work with a mostly left-leaning assembly? Particularly one individual on that assembly who you campaigned against in the runoff here. So just kind of, and maybe it's just, hey, you touched on a little bit, we all want the same thing. We have different ways of approaching it. But how do we do what you're looking to do, Dave, which is bringing everybody together and trying to get everybody on the same page as much as possible, particularly in the assembly?
Well, again, throughout the campaign, I was actually asked that many times on debate formats, and I intend on work. I'm going to probably agree with them on 80% of the things that we got to do. And again, not to be redundant, but we all got to dodge the same potholes. We all have to plow snow, and we're gonna work together to do those things. And then the 20% or so that we disagree on, that'll be contentious, but I think it'll be polite. But at the end of the day, what matters is that we're effective doing the work that we're all called to do. Mr. Dunbar, we had some great debates, and I'm just looking forward to continuing those debates with him, certainly in the assembly and in the work sessions, because we gotta get some problems fixed in this city. Again, homelessness, the building process, the port is a whole separate, very technical, complex issue that's going to take a lot of money to fix. And because we got to get back to normal business, we got to feel comfortable using our parks again, which means we got to fix the visible homeless problem. We want to get back to summertime and baseball down at Mulcahy, and those are the things we want to do, and then heading out to go fishing or just fishing at Ship Creek. Kings are almost here, and I just I don't know if it's a Norman Rockwell thing I have about my city, but that's what I want. That's what I want to get back to. Where the restaurants are full. We went down to Tent City the other night. It was full. It was great conversations with the folks that were there. Got to meet, lucky enough to meet the executive chef there, and that's what I like doing. Going to Simon Seifert's and eating there in front of the window, looking out over the inlet. That's what's normal for me. We all got our definition of normal. Some it's just bike trails and climbing the mountains, which I do too. But I've just got a vision of what I want to get back to.
Yeah. Well, Dave, let me just end on this, a fun personal note. What are some of your favorite memories of summertime here in Alaska?
Well, flying across the inlet and maybe landing on a beach, having a picnic, or I kind of spend time when the water's down and sit in the river, landing on sandbars, and we do long range shooting, or I've been going over, and for some Korean friends of mine that love them, I've been dip netting for hooligan for them. I bring them back because the church, they really like it, for making their fish sauce. I love doing it. They think it's a burden on me. No, it's something I've been doing for a few years. I love doing it, and it just getting out, and in the city itself, the bike trails are kind of the big thing for me. The bike trails and flat top, that's summertime for me. And putting on the helmet and getting on the bike and cranking some tunes and just hitting the bike on the fat tire bike.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody would have any problem, no matter what party or political background you have, with that at all. Well, Dave, I want to thank you so much again. It's been incredible. As we talk right now, I don't even know if this is correct. It may be. Is it 72 degrees outside right now?
Well, I've been in the office since 6:30 this morning, 7:30 this morning, and the sun just goes around in a circle, and I'm just looking at the mountains over at the Alaska range, Mount Spur and Iliamna and Redoubt, and I'm going, man, it's time to go. Maybe get ready to go fishing at the rivers over there.
Absolutely.
I
think
not
it is
so much anymore.
Well, it is 72 out there. I just confirmed that. So it's sunny, man. There's just scattered clouds, but it is beautiful out there. So, Dave, your Norman Rockwell idea, which I resonate with, old Americana. I really do love that, and I love your vision for Anchorage. And again, I can't express enough my gratitude for taking the time. I know you're busy, but Dave, thank you so much. I look forward to hearing from you, to seeing what your administration is going to do, and again, talking to you maybe at some point somewhere down the road. But enjoy the summer, Dave, as much as you can.
Do.
All right, take care. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Take care.
Yep.
Well, I want to thank Dave Bronson for joining with me again, mayor-elect here in Anchorage. It was a campaign that he worked really hard at. He had an incredible team, incredible volunteers, incredible staff that he had. And now he's in the transition process. And again, it's a process. It's one of those things in politics we don't know a lot about if you're not into politics, but no, there is a transition process. There's a way to, when you're shifting people out from a previous administration to shift people into a current administration, or the upcoming one, to be more precise, it's there. But guys, thank you so much. Listen, Must Read Alaska supporters, listeners, and readers, you guys have been incredible. It's summertime, but the politics here in Alaska do not stop. There's so much more to talk about. But Dave has been just gracious with us. Last week we had him on just before, just talking about the campaign and possibly transition. And now that has become, it has become a reality for him. And listen, you did what I asked you to do. You voted, and there was a lot of people. I think they had a record number of voting this year. So regardless of who you voted for, I'm just glad that people got out and voted. And I think that is imperative. Whether I had a small, if any part of that, I don't really care. I just wanted people to go out and vote for the change they wanted to see. Hey, listen, if you love this content and you want to continue to help us as we put out more content, you can do so by supporting Must Read Alaska by going to mustreadalaska.com and clicking on the support at the upper right of the website. Again, we love all of our readers, listeners, and supporters. It's because of you that we're able to do this. Also, if you could just take a minute, go ahead. I didn't do this at the beginning. I wanted to do it at the end because I have to respect Dave's time. If you could take a minute and give us a 5-star review, that'd be incredible. It really helps us when people are searching for our podcast or subject matter that we talk about. And if you could take another minute, give us a written review. We love hearing from our listeners. It's incredible to see your positivity and your support and encouragement. It's been phenomenal. And listen, if you want to find us on all of the social media, Rumble, MeWe, Parler, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all of it's under the same handle. It's Must Read Alaska, all one word. But hey, listen, it is a gorgeous day. I am no longer going to stay in. It's time to get out. It's time to go on the bike trails, like Dave said. It's time to enjoy an Alaskan summer. So until next week, take care.